Erev Shabbos, we saw, good Vach everybody. Erev Shabbos, we saw the idea of a taina of Pesach B'tzuach Mitzasi. He doesn't taina there's dam, because it's a situation where either it's from a mishpacha, which we're going to meet, that did not have dam, mishpacha is the key, or the mappa that the dam was on could have been lost. So his taina is Pesach B'tzuach Mitzasi, that she's not a basula. And the first lashon, according to Rabbi Laza, it's you. Not only is he's believed only on himself, but he wouldn't be believed to be mafsid the ksuba. You know, he would not be believed to go ahead and take away ksuba. He's believed to asa her, his craving would be asa on her craving would be asa on him, and he would be asa on her, but she would not lose a ksuba. We saw a second lashon in the name of Rabbi Yehuda in Shmuel. Then in fact she would even lose a ksuba. And we're going to see Bez Hashem will elaborate upon that tonight. So, but let's begin Yud Amid Aleph. Itmar Amar of Nachman Amar Shmuel. Mishum Reb Shimon ben Elazar says Nachman in the name of Shmuel, in the name of Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Chachamim tiknu lehem lebnais Yisrael lebesula masayim ulalmana mana. The Chachamim were metaking for Yisrael a ksuba for a besula 200 zuz and almana 100. The heimim minuhu, and they also, the Chachamim who were metaking this, they also believed him Shem Amar Pesach B'tzuach Mitzasi, that if he said a Pesach B'tzuach I found, Ne'eman, he's believed. And then he's believed to go ahead and cause her a loss of ksuba. So Fred the Gemara in Cain, Maho Ilu Chachamim B'takanton. If the purpose of the ksuba was to make it difficult for him to divorce her, if it's so easy to go ahead and divorce her, what did they accomplish? In other words, we want to give the girl a security. So he gave a certain amount of money that it's going to cost them to divorce her. So what happens? It's very easy to get out of it. Go ahead, time of Pesach B'suach, and shine, you're gone. So what did they accomplish? So, and for the Gemara Amarava, Chazaka, this is the key to the sugya. Chazaka ein adam tarech b'suda umafsida. A person would be tarech b'suda and be mafsidit. So let's get what would happen over here. They went ahead, he paid for a lavish wedding. He now decides he wants to end the marriage. So he's going to lie and say, Pesach Pesuach Mitzasi. If he didn't want in the first place, he wouldn't have gone through the thing in the first place. So it must be he's telling the truth. Because again, why would he go through the expense and everything of the chasana in order to, and then say, I don't want her. And the reason he's saying I don't want her is because no good reason. If he didn't want her, he wouldn't have gone through the whole expenditure of the tircha of the suda. Ella, when he did do it, it must be he wanted her, and therefore when he says Pesach Besuach Mitzasi, it must be he's telling the truth, and therefore she would Tana Hoyel v'Konis Chachamim Hu Leisig by Elam Ziburis. Now, since it's a Knas of the Chachamim, she only collects from Ziburis. Okay, what does that mean? There are three lands: Idias, Beinunis, and Ziburius. Idias being the best, Beinunis being the middle, and Ziburius being the lowest. Okay, so a Balchov collects a mazik, a nezik, someone who's damaged collects some Idias, a Balchov collects some Beinunis, and Kesuvos Isha is from Ziburius. So says the Gemara, since it's a kanas, right, you collect from Ziburius. Fed the Gemara, Hoyel v'Konis Chacham Hu Leisig by Elam Ziburius. Kanasa, my kanasa. What kind of kanasa is this? Okay, well, in other words, there's no reason for a kanasa over here. What's the purpose of, where's the kanasa over here that, in other words, mashma they should collect better, but because of what, someone was pasheo here, we give him a kanas. Fred Gemara, what kanas is there? Elaima, hoyel b'takanas chachamim hu, take out the word kanas. Since it's takanas chachamim, right, loy sigba element as ziburius, right? He collects from what? She collects a ksuba only from Ziburius. She collects ksuba only from Ziburius. So again, according to this, there's time of Pesach Pesuach Mitzasi, he'd be believed. He would even believe to the extent to go ahead and cost the ksuba. And the reason is because Einam Tarech Besuda Elam Kain, there must be some purpose behind it. Okay, now
what does it mean that there was a knas for him?
No, again, we got rid of that. We rejected it. We rejected it. It's gone. Goodbye.
I'm saying in the Havamina, the knas would.
Yeah,
Ziburis is good for him.
My kanasa claim no. In other words, why was he kanas that in the first place? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I think that's the word kasha. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I don't know what the words mean. I have no idea what the words mean. Now, what is the din of ksuba din deraisa din derabanan? This is a very, very basic idea. It's ksuba deraisa derabanan. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Aimer, ksubas isha min atayra. Ksubas isha is midaraisa. Ksubas isha min atayra. Ksubas isha is. For the Gemara, Miyam Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Hachi. Does Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel say so that ksuba is deraisa? For Tanya, kesav yishkol kimar habesulais. This is speaking about a mafate, a man entices a girl. The kesav you'll weigh to her like the gift of a besula. Sheyezeh kimar habesulais, that the price you pay for being mafate, enticing a girl is like the gift of a besula. Umar besula is kizeh, and the Umar besula is like this, that it should be from shkalim. Now mikan over here, samchu chachamim l'ksubas isha min atayra. The chachamim was saimich that ksubas isha is min atayra. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Aimer ksubas isha enim b'derei Torah elim b'derei seifim. So stira. Initially, you're saying that he holds the raisa. Here, clearly, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel is saying it's the Rabbanan. So the Gemara says Eipach. Switch around the last raisa. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel is the one that says it's the raisa, and the Chacham that's saying it's the Rabbanan. Rabbi Shimon again. So switch it around. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel is the one saying the raisa, and the Chacham saying it's the Rabbanan. For the Gemara, my chazis the afkas pas raisa Eipach kamaisa. Why did you opt? You want to go ahead and match up the shittis. Why do you opt to say that Rabbi Shimon Gamliel holds this deraisa? Switch around the first one, and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is the one who holds the Rabbanan, and the Chacham holds the deraisa. Why did you go ahead? Why were you locked in to say that Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is the one that said it's deraisa? You could have just as easily switched it around. If the whole thing is to answer up a stira, what motivated you to switch around the latter brisa, switch around the earlier brisa? Says Gemara, no, Hashaminale, it's because we heard Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, the Amar Kesuvos Ishim Deraisa. Since we heard somewhere else that he said Kesuvos Ishim Deraisa, and so we have one place saying Deraisa, one place the Rabbanan, and a third place saying Deraisa, it must be the latter one, the middle one, to switch it around to make it all shtim, because we have outside information, so to say, that what Rabbi Shimon Gamliel holds is Deraisa. Where do we have this outside information? That none. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Aimer, Noisin lo memoyis kaputkia. Okay, the story is over here. Kaputkia had heavier coins that contained more metal than Eretz Yisrael. So if a woman is collecting a ksub in Kaputkia, does she collect Eretz Yisrael, or does she collect Kaputkia coins? Says the Chachamim that she collects Eretz Yisrael coins. She was married in Eretz Yisrael. The ksub was written in Eretz Yisrael. She's divorced in Kaputkia. She's collecting Eretz Yisrael. Says Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, she goes ahead and gets what? She gets Kaputkia. Why? Because it's the Raisa. Right, so that's one teretz. So since we see it's the Raisa, so let's see Rashi over here, guys. The Perik Basrot, the last Perik of the Masech, the Tanan, Nasi Isha Beretz Yisrael, the Girsha B'Kaputkia, Noislim Mois Eretz Yisrael, Shehin Kalis. Nasi Isha B'Kaputkia, if he gets married in Kaputkia, the Girsha Beretz Yisrael, I said the opposite. Noislim Mois Eretz Yisrael, Minayin Hakosa B'Ksuba Daslin L'Kula, because you go L'Kula. Why? Shenishtabed ben Kishar Milva, the Ksava Ksuba Deraisa. That's you mishabed yourself in Kaputkia with that money of Kaputkia. Why? Because Ksuba is Deraisa. So guys, Geshmak. Since we see over here that Ksuba is Deraisa, it must be the middle one that said the Rabbanon with Mapich that it should be Deraisa to shtim with the first one. So then across the board, he holds it. Iba Yasema, another teretz. Kula Reb Shimon Gamliel here. There's no this. We're going to switch around, guys. We're going to take the middle brisa and knetch it. We're going to go ahead and cut and paste to make it shtim. In other words, you have a deraisa. Now you have a derabanan. The derabanan also is going to be deraisa. Here, what do we do? The middle brisa is also Shimon Gamliel. The chsui mechsu, it's missing words. And here's the way you learn the middle brisa that said the rabbanan. Mikan somchu chacham l'ksubas isha min atayra. Okay, now that's the raisa. Ksubas almana ain't miderei Torah. However, the ksuba of an almana, again, if your source is kesef yishkal kamar habesulois, the pasuk is only speaking about a besula. So you only have a deraisa source for the ksuba of a besula. But an almana would be what midrabana. Rabbi Gamliel, Aimer Ksubas Almana So what you thought was a kasha is not a kasha. When he said the ksuba is the rabbanon, he wasn't referring to the ksuba of a basula. He was referring to the ksuba of an almana. A ksuba of a basula was always the raisa, and it's not a kasha whatsoever. The ksuba was always the raisa, and it's not a kasha whatsoever. So now everything is good. Now what's the halacha about a ksuba? So hang on 1 second. I wanted to bring a lashon of a Rambam. Says the Taisus. Let's see Taisus Daf Yomi and Aleph. Tap Taisus. Amr Rav Nachman Amr Shmuel Chachamim Tiknu. Mashma the Ksuba de Rabbanan. When it says the Chachamim were mitakein, it's mashma the whole concept of Ksuba is the Rabbanan. The Chaim Yisha Rabba we saw in Yevamis. Gabe Ein Lo Ksuba Kama. It said she has no Ksuba. My timer to Kinul Rabbanan Ksuba. Shlaitei Kalabein of Lahitzia. Remember that Gemara, guys? That's when the woman would go ahead and we want to we don't want them to stay together. So there's no reason for her to stay together because she's not going to collect her ksuba. Alma stamid shas saba the ksuba the rabbanan. Stam shas holds ksuba the rabbanan. The kasha the nog lichta b'ksuba. We write in the lashon of the ksuba kesev zuzei masin 200 zuz the chazi lechei midaraisa that is seen to you midaraisa. So that you see that what it's the raisa. V'amrin utam the samchin and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel the masnisan the perik basra with soymich and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel in the last perik. The Maisil Anami Besamach that we just brought now, Domar, Noisalam and Moyes Kaputkia. You give why? Because Ksavik Scuba Daraisa. Okay, we have a rule, halachas like Rishim Gamliel, it's in the Mishnah, so therefore chutz 3 places, and therefore it says Rabbeinu Tam that if you can give Moyes Kaputkia, it's because that's where it was written, and that's where the Shibud was. So you see it's the Raisa. Now that is not what most people hold. Rashi holds is the Rabbanon. The Rif holds the Rabbanan, and this is the lashon of the Rambam in Ishus Perik Beis Pasuk Beis. It says over here, "V'asar shloisha mehen min ha'Torah ve'elohin sheira ksusa v'nasa." This is all midaraisa. Sheira elim is to give food to your wife is midaraisa. Ksusa to give her clothing is deraisa. Ainasa lavayalev kedera kalar. It's to live with her is deraisa. Ashvi b'devei seifrim, and 7 are devei seifrim. The kulin tonight bezdin, they're all conditional on bezdin. What's the first one? Iker ksuba. What does iker ksuba mean? The 200 zuz of basula and the mana of an almana. Iker ksuba, because there's taisefis ksuba, there's other things written in the ksuba, but the Rambam clearly states that in more than one place he says that ksuba is the rabbanan. So I didn't look up the Shulchan Aruch. I think that that's the psak, because most of the Rishonim go in that way. Keneged Rabbeinu Tam. So you should just a general idea. You should know the ksubis is such a. We're learning Masechet Ksubis. Is ksubis a rabbinical din, or has a source in the Torah? Okay.
But it also makes sense, no, because they have a concept of hefker based in by ksuba. You mafker, you nullify the get.
Therefore, you're nullifying the marriage. Right. You're nullifying the marriage. You're not the hefker ben and hefker is nullifying the kesef of the marriage. Henji, it's not the ksuba. You're nullifying the kesef that was given, and that's why the Gemara always asks, "Abishlei mekesef b'yaminolam." What do they do over there? Right? That's you're nullifying hefker. You're knowing that. The question is, didn't have a source? Does ksuba have a source or not? Once there's no marriage, there will not be a ksuba. You won't have to come on to hefker bez and hefker for the ksuba. Okay, now. This is a few cases of interesting. Hahu de asal kamei de Rav Nachman, amalei Pesach P'tzuach Masatzi. This guy found the Pesach P'tzuach. Now, you might wonder, we had a shaila, or my dear brother-in-law had a shaila, how could Roy be experts in Hatiyah, right? How does the guy know Pesach P'tzuach Masatzi? How would a person know that, right? If he never got married before, how would he know that? Says Gemara, Amalut Reb Nachman, Asbua Koifri, go ahead and give him Malchus using a palm branch. Why? Mibrachta Chavitale. Are the designers of Mibrachta lying in front of him? In other words, the guy is so bakant, they're so experienced. I've read the Gemara of Amar of Nachman, who Dama Mehimnin. Rav Nachman's the one who said above, he's believed to say Pesach Pesuach. And for the Gemara, no, Mehimnin, we believe him. In other words, we believe him that he knows what he's talking about. However, we give him Malchus for getting that experience, getting that knowledge. right? Forgetting that knowledge. This is the way Pasha Pshat, right? Taisus has another Pshat. Rav Achai Meshani, Kan Bacha, Kan Benasui. Okay, a Bacha, you wouldn't believe, you give Malchus to, but Nasui, L'chayra, you believe. So who the Asl Kamed Reb Gamliel, Amalei, Pesach Psuach Matzasi, Amalei, Shema Hitisa, maybe you angled in. Emshel Chamashal, Ma David Daim, Adam Shoy Mahalach Beishan, Laili going the black of night, Fafela and Hita, if he inclines, Matsu, Pesuach, he finds the opening of the house, Loi Hita, but if he doesn't incline, Matsu no, he finds it closed. Ikadi on the other say, Hachi Amalei, Shema b'mezid hitisa, maybe you inclined b'mezid, the akra l'dasha, and you went ahead and you uprooted the bar of the door for avda, and then you went in. Emshel chamashal ma'adav adayim la'adam shu mahalach b'ishan laila v'afela hita b'mezid matzu p'suach loy hita b'mezid matzu noil. Whatever the case is. Ahu das l'kameder of Gamliel by Rabbi Amalei Rabbi Baalti v'lei mitzasi dam. Okay, now this by Pesach p'suach mitzasi again we have the question of giving Malchus. Perhaps where did he get this experience? But matzu dam l'chayr is amasechta, right? The whole first taina. L'chayr, we always learned the Mishnah that you should not go ahead and be cooled off because you have a tainus of dam. Says the Gemara. These exactly happened. These are cases. These are cases. A person showed up in the Bezdin Rabbi Gamliel, the son of Rabbi, and he said, Rabbi, ba'alti, I lifted my wife, le'matzasi dam. Amruloi, Rabbi, besula yisi, I was a besula. In other words, she says I was. So Amar Lahen, that Rebbe said to them. Now Rebbe lived in Eretz Yisrael. Heviuli oisei sudar, bring me the sudar, the sheet. Heviuli a sudar, visharu b'mayim, v'chapsu, and he washed it. U'matzulav kamatipe damim, and he found kamatipe damim. He found blood on it. Rashi says it had been covered up by the zera of the man, and therefore what? He was able to find it. So Amalai, so Rabbi Gamliel the Rebbe told the man, go ahead, you was like in your mekach, here's your wife. Amalai Huna Marbared Rav Pazrikla Vashi, when he heard this psak, this hands-on way of discerning whether who's telling the truth. We in Babel should do it as well. So Amalai Rav Ashi told him, we got a problem on the base. We have a problem. Why? Geyotz Shalonu is Kekibus Shalahem. Our pressing is like their kibbutz. Our pressing is like the kibbutz. In other words, Eretz Yisrael, the water was of finer quality and softer, and you were able to wash the clothing without the need to pound it. In Bavel, where the water was harder, you had to pound it. And therefore, v'yamit novad, if we're going to go ahead and say, go ahead and wash it to clean it out, gehutz, the pounding, ma'abrlo chumrata. The gehutz, the pressing, the chumrata is the stone, they would press it, it would go ahead and totally take it out. So we don't have the option of going ahead and doing this because in Mitzius, we would not be able to go ahead and do this test because the action of pounding would take away any possible dam. Ahu das l'kamei de Rav Gamliel b'Rebbe, Amalei Rebbe ba'alti v'lei mitzasi dam. So Amalei Rebbe, adayim b'sulani, I'm still a b'sula. Amalehem, so listen to this, Rabbi Gamliel told them, Heviu li shtei shvachos, bring me two shvachos, achas b'sula v'achas b'ula. Heviu loi ve'shivin al pi chavis. You put them on top of a barrel shel yayin. B'ula reichen noidif. B'ula, you're able to smell the wine through her mouth. B'sula ein reichen noidif. You're not able to smell it. So avzu. Does anyone recall what we did this, guys? The men of Yavish killed the woman of Yavish.
This is today's parsha. It's today's parsha.
What are you
Right?
talking about?
With the B'nai Midah when they brought them back. Isn't that how they tested them?
That is true, but
Today's parsha.
We have it in the Torah, we have it in the Navi, but we had it in Masech the Yavamis by Yavish Gilad.
Yes, we had it.
Yavish Gilad, we had Yavish Gilad to marry Binyamin. So this seems to be a test. So now he determined whether it was a good test by using two slaves, one a Basula, one a Ba'ula, and it worked. So now what did he do? Hashiva, so Avzu, even this Jewish girl, Hashiva, he placed on a barrel. You cannot smell the wine from her mouth. So Amaloi, so Rebbe told me, and Leich Sacha b'mechacha. She's a Basula. Why do you have to bring the two shvachos? Why do you go ahead and do the test immediately to her? Says the Gemara have shmiya lei he heard about this Messiah, but Maisalei Habi Chazi, but he never, in practice, he never did it. So the Savar, Dilmalei Kimle Bigava, maybe I won't do it correctly, the Milsa, Shapir, and it wouldn't have been right to disrespect to Bnei Yisrael that to go ahead and do it. So you went through the Shvachos. Ahudas the committee, more on hands-on cases. Ahudas the committee, Regumlila Zakin, Amule Rebbe, Baalti Blematsasi Dam, Amule Rebbe, Mishpachas Durkatiani. I'm from Mishpacha of Durkati. As we mentioned this before when we said Pesach Besuach. Why? Because there's no. Why not Dam? Because I'm from Mishpacha. There's no Dam. She'ein lehem loy Dam Nidav loy Dam Besulim. Badak Rebbe Gamliel B'Krei Veseha checked out all the relatives. Umatza Kidvareha and found out the words to be true. Amaloi, Rabbi Gamliel told him, Leich Zacha b'necha. Ashrecha, fortunate are you, she's a chisel mishpachas dorkati. Fortunate are you that you ended up in mishpacha that doesn't see dam. Further, my dorkati, says the Gemara, it's a contraction of two words, dor ketua, a dor that is kateya from dam. Rashi learns it, dor that's kateya for dam. The Aruch says it's a dor that's cut off, because if women don't menstruate, usually they don't have. If they don't have a period, they don't have eggs. So usually it's going to be a generation that won't be able to continue. So I wonder how they got in the first place to be like this. But that's what the Aruch says, and the Gemara kind of substantiates it. Amr of Chananya.
What's the bracha? What's the ashrecha then?
You jumped the gun. You're being Mekayim. You're being Mekayim something that I don't appreciate. So let's hang it there, okay? So Amar Rabbi Chanina, Tanchumim shel Hevel nichamu. It's Tanchum of Hevel, what you're giving them, saying that what Ashrecha. Rabbi Gamliel say ish. The Tanur of Chia, Kishem shehasoya yafel isa. Just like yeast is good for the dough, Kach damim yafel leisha. So too blood is good for the woman. The Tanim Yishum Reb Meir, Kol isha shedameha merubin. Any woman who has a lot of blood, but neha merubin she'll have a lot of children. So Masha'en Kain, if you don't see a lot of blood, then not. If you don't see a lot of blood, you're not. So Itmar, Rav Yomi bar Abba Omar, Zachav mecha amalei, Rav Yosi bar Avin Omar, Nischayev mecha amalei. It's not a good thing, right? Bishlam in Madiyam Nischayev, Hainu Reb Chanina, that what since there's not a lot of blood, you know, Nebech, you're Chayev and you're Mekach over here. El Madiyam is Zachav, my schus. So what schus is it that have a woman that doesn't see blood? Liyasa de Safik Nida. You never come to any shilas and tiresome mishpacha. Who does the committee Rebbe? Amalei Rebbe, Baalti Blematsasi Dam. I didn't find blood. Amalei Rebbe, Adayim Basula. You see, I'm still a Basula. Vishani Betsuras Have, and it was a year of famine. Ra Rebbe Shepeneyim Shechayrim. Rebbe saw that their faces were black. Siva Aleim V'chnisim Lemerchatz. They put them in the bathhouse. V'chilam and gave him to eat. V'hishkam gave him to drink. V'chnisim Lechader Bol Lematzadam. Amalei Leich Zachav Mechacha. Kari Rebbe Aleim. Rebbe applied the pasuk. Suffered oram, their skin is stuck al atzmam on their bones. Yaveshu ke'etz, they're dry as wood. In fact, people who they don't eat, they take the case of anorexia, they lose their cycle. The girls who are girls who are anorexic, they lose their cycle by not eating. So it's bodek menusa. Okay, very nice plot, easy, finishing off on an even easier note. Guys, want to chazi yavamis after this? We go tonight a little bit, chazara. Maybe the sugi of zika, your test and chaf. Okay, I don't think
We have a 25-minute shir to do.
Okay, anyway. Says the Mishnah. Besula ksubasa masayim. Ksuba of a besula is 200. The almana mana. And the ksuba of an almana is a mana. Besula almana gerusha v'chalutzim in erisin. Now she was married, but not nesuin. In other words, she got married, she accepted kedushin, and then her husband died. So she's an almana, besula. Husband divorces her. She's a gerusha besula, right? Or her husband died, fell to yibum, and she released chalitza. In all these cases, she's still besula because it was from erisin. Then ksubasa masayim, the ksuba will still be 200, despite the fact she was married. The yesh lehem tainas besulim. And any man that marries her would in fact be what? Would have tainas besulim. Any man that would marry her would be able to go ahead what? And have tainas besulim. Good? That's what the Mishnah says. Fred the Gemara. My almana. When it says almana, what does it mean? Notice we're looking. This is a little. The rest of the sugya is a sugya of etymology, just words. So almana, guys, you know what almana means? Says the Gemara. Amar Rav Chana Bagdata. He was the expert. Rav Chana, he was from Baghdad. Almana al sheimana almana. She's minus a mana. She's supposed to get what? 200. But almana, she's out. Is that fascinating? She's out of mana. She only gets 100. Almana, that's where the name comes from, right? Says the Gemara, Almana min Erisim Ayikol Meim. What about she's an Almana from Erisim, like our Mishnah, where she's not out the mana. She still has a 200. Says the Gemara, Aidi the high Korli Almana, high Nami Korli Almana. Once you call this one Almana, even the one from Erisim, even though she doesn't get 200, we call it Almana. Almana the Ksiva Baraisa Ayikol Meim. What about the Almana that it says in the Torah? Since in the time of the Torah, you don't have the Ksuba yet, right? So if you tell me Almana is based totally on the Ksuba, what happened? The Torah says the word Almana, right? That's Ksuba. Says the Gemara, the Asida Rabbana the Mitakni Lamana. The Chachamim, meaning they're in the future going to be talking to Ramana. Fred the Gemara, because of Krala Asid, do we write the Torah write something based upon the future? Says the Gemara, yes indeed. Yes indeed, the Torah wrote things based upon the future. It says there were 4 rivers that came out of Eden. A gan came out of Eden and went ahead and it nurtured 4 rivers. One of them, B'Shem Nor Shlishi. What's the name of the third one? Is Chidekel. Chidekel is the Tigris. Who Hoilich Kidmas Asher. It goes to the east of Asher. Vitana Rabbi Yosef. Asher Zu Selakia. Asher is the city of Selakia. And Mihave, there's no Selakia in the time of the creation. Ella, what do you have to say? Ella Dasida. It's speaking about the future. Achanami Dasida. It's speaking about the future. V'amrav Achana Bagdatoi. Mata mashke merave umezavel. Mata, rain, has the capacity to mashka. It waters merave. It saturates and mezavel. It fertilizes. Uma'adein. It gives shine. Umamshich, and it causes things to grow. Amar Rav Rishmael. V'itema Rav Yemer by Shalemya. Mikro. What's the pasuk? Tilamecha rave. Right. Naches gedudecha. Revivim timagagena simcha torech. That Tomeha, the furrows, they'll be nurtured, they'll be rave. We'll see Rashi in a second. And it showers, it softens, it grows. So all these things what apply. So Rashi says, Rave Hari Mashka. When it says Rave, it means it irrigates. Umarve. Utamagagena is Hari Mezabel. Tamagagena means it fertilizes. Mi'aden umamshech esaperis nafkem mit simcha tvarech. The end of the pasuk says your with simcha, your growth should be what? Should be blessed. Samcha tevarech. Amar Abalaza. Now, since we're going ahead and saying how words mizbeach means meziach, it goes ahead and it moves averis. Mezin, it gives food. Mechabev, it causes endearment. And mechaper, it causes kapara. So Fred Gemara, haina mechaper, haina meziach. Meziach means causes averis to move, so it's the same thing. After the Gemara, meziach gezeira is mechaper avonis. Meziach means the gezeira and averis mechaper. And certainly, mezin, we reap the rewards of the mizbeach, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates chavivus the mizbeach. V'amar Rav Chana Bagdatoi, tamrei, dates. Meshachanan, it warms up the body. Mazbian, it satiates the body. Meshalshlin, it gives you a little boost if you need it. And ma'ashrin, I mean that means to go to the bathroom. And ma'ashrin, it gives you kayach, gives you energy. Lo mefankin, a person doesn't become mufanik. Amarav, achal tamarim al yera, but it also intoxicates. So if you eat tamarim, you shouldn't go ahead and paskin shilas. Mesaveh, tamarim shachris va'arvis yofes. If you eat tamarim in the morning and the afternoon, it's very, very good. The mincha in the evening, it's good. The mincha rois, right? But sarayim ain't kamaisin. It's nothing better. And dates have the capacity to mevatel 3 things: machshava ra, a bit thought, v'chol miyayim, and a bit stomachs, b'tachtonias, and hemorrhoids. So you see that what it's a good thing. So how come Rab said that what it doesn't paskin? It says I never said it's not good. Aluyi mali, it's taka very good. Well, if you shite the tar, though, however you eat them, sometimes you get tired, you get a little intoxicated. Just like wine. A person drinks a revius of wine, you should go ahead and paskin. People are saying, well, like hash, it's not a problem. You know, it's one you said it's no good when you said it is good. Depends when you eat it. Hamakami nahama. If you eat dates before bread, it's not good. Halabas nahama. If you eat dates after bread, it is very good. Rabbi, what does the Rabbi say? Because this is nanny. Tarme Makami Nahama. If you eat dates before bread, ki nargal dikula. It's like taking an axe to a tree. Bust in the hand, but eat it after bread, ki arvula dasha. It's like barring the door. I guess that's a good thing. Dasha, where the word door comes from dasha. Amarava derech sham. This is the way you go out. It's a mutrikin. Dasha. This is the way you go out. Darga. Why is the ladder called a darga? Amarava derech gag. That's the way to go up to a roof. Darga. Puria. Why is the bed called Puria? Amrava Shaparim for Rabbi Nalei. That's what people, they go ahead and procreate. Amrav Nachma Yitzchak says to Nachma Yitzchak, Af Anu Nema. We also stay, islandess of Yevam's fame, right? Is the chroniest Deloy Yolda. She's a ram that doesn't give birth. Islandess. She's an islandess. She's like an isle. She's a male. She can't give birth. Tomorrow morning, B'ez Hashem, 9:30, fellas. 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Benji, what time do they die?